Welcome to Connecting to the Quran, revision lesson 1A. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to host this and to be able to, and for you to be present. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in this journey for all of us and what unfolds in this year ahead of us. Ameen. So, welcome. So this is the format. We have Zoom, and start the lesson with me giving an introduction to the first week, and then we go into breakout rooms for the exercises, where there's usually around 3 to 4 people in each breakout room, maximum 5. I try no more to do no more than 5. And what you will need for tonight is simply that PDF. It's not in the folder. The folder is for you to go through, for this week anyway. The folder is for you to go through yourself with the videos, and all of you should have access to the Wistia site. So, we've got the chat. If you need to type any questions in the chat, we'll start with, that's the first port of call, and then you can unmute yourself if I need clarification. That's usually how we start, just so we don't have a cacophony, whatever that word is, of people's voices all over the place, and we can't. I don't know who's speaking. So the first port of call is a chat bar, and then you go into breakout rooms after about hopefully 15 minutes, go through the exercises, and then we come back into the room, and I go over the answers. I do check on you in the breakout rooms, but I go through the answers when we come back out. And you can voice any of your questions around the answers. And that's basically the structure of a revision lesson. So it is expected for you to have gone through the videos. That's the expectation. It doesn't mean that you won't benefit from the revision lesson if you haven't done the videos, but it'll be a lot easier for you if you have done so. If we go through, I'm just going to go to share my screen. In terms of technical issues, they're normal. In the first month, basically, I give myself a month to get used to something. We often fear that we're going to fall behind, and we start panicking, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Give yourself the luxury of not knowing exactly everything about the course, especially in the first month, in terms of technical issues I'm speaking about. And I'm here to support you, and don't feel awkward for asking a question that's probably already been asked and answered. That's just normal. So you've got me on WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal, whatever your preference is. You've got me on email. You're most welcome to reach out to me if you're confused by things. We've got basically the Wistia site, which is the portal with all the videos. You've got the whole year there, so you can go through things at your own pace if you wish to. You can go ahead if you wish to. We've also got the Memrise app. You should be able to download that onto your phones with a link and the email I sent. If you have any problems, just WhatsApp me or email me and I can send that to you. We've got the Moment Pin community discussion page. I'm having a bit of issues with that, to be honest. I'm trying to I've been able to invite a number of you to it, but I can't open it myself. I don't know if anyone else has had issues with that, and if anyone can if anyone can help me with that, because it seems a bit strange. I try to actually press on the group and it doesn't open up to anything. So I will chase that up. That's merely so you guys can communicate. A number of students just feel comfortable, if they feel comfortable, they give out their number and they have they have contact one another through WhatsApp or whatever medium they're comfortable with. So that's another way that you can interact with one another. There are also, just to let you know, there are students that have done this course before, maybe once or twice even, and they're here to benefit and reinforce their learning. But also they're here, they might not have made this intention, but I have them as support teachers in my class. So if they, give space, I say to those students that have done it before, to give space for the new ones to almost attempt things, and then you to support them and reinforce your learning as well. So you're a team, and there's people with a mixed learning here, different levels of different exposure to Arabic. So just appreciate that. Yeah. So here's my number. I think it's already on the video, so you should already have it. It's in the email as well. Any interaction you have with me, please state exactly who you are, your full name, because unless I've saved your number before, I want to know who you are. Videos for the year are all up on the Wistia site. I said that. Give Mohammed Cheetah some time. He might have not given you access yet. Hopefully he has. But just reach out to him and pester him, but also just be patient. He's got a day job. Often there's memorize issues, but I think you should be okay now because I've sent the link that directly takes you to the decks. Share your learning successes on the computer app, the community app, or to me. That is one of the keys to motivation, is that you share what you're learning, because we often in our learning journey we start to doubt ourselves, and we get, you know, negative thoughts come up and saying we're not learning, this is too difficult, and we forget how far we've actually come. And that's really important, that we don't just look forward to where we want to get to, we actually look back and see the steps we've made. So when you share your learnings with me or the group, hardly anyone actually does this, to be honest, but I really do encourage it. They're scared of being the SWAT or the know-it-all, I think, through educational trauma, or being traumatized for coming forward to do anything and being ridiculed. But it does really help encourage and motivate you to reinforce that you are learning. Keys to revising the lesson. So I spoke about this in the videos. I really do encourage, ideally, that you start on Monday. You go through those 4 videos, maybe, you know, do half an hour a day or something like that, or an hour a day, whatever you can muster. And then once you've gone through that material, you go over the material within 48 hours afterwards. So this is a 3-step approach. You go over it. So you go over it. Ideally, sorry, let me just reiterate that. You go over it yourself before the lesson. You go through it in the lesson, i.e. these live lessons, and then you reinforce it 48 hours after. So 48 hours before, go over the material in the class, then go over it within 48 hours when it's still fresh after the class. And that 3-step approach really helps reinforce things. And I used that when I was learning Arabic, and I never really had to revise, to be honest. So it's about consolidating and choosing when to learn. The big mistake is people at the beginning, they really go for it and do like 5 hours of learning. You're not going to be able to maintain that. I would like you to see Arabic learning, or any learning, like the gym. If you go into the gym and you've never been into the gym, or you haven't been in the gym for a long time, and then you start, if you do 5 hours, you're going to bust yourself and you won't be able to get up the next day. And you will lose motivation. Your motivation will not last. It's far better for you to do a small amount, rest, and in the rest is the learning. That's the point. So when you, for example, if I say to you, give me 10 push-ups, you say, I can't do 10 push-ups, I've never done a push-up. Okay, can you give me 2? You do 2, you get to a point where, oh, it's getting a struggle. You listen to your body's starting to go, you have a break, and that's when the actual muscles are developing in the rest period. Same thing with your brain. So it's really important you time your learning, you space it out, and you give time to really relax afterwards. So even after this lesson, for example, relax, do something that's mindless, and that's where the learning's actually been integrated. I've spoken about vocabulary on the videos, about how to memorize and how your brain actually assimilates vocabulary, so I don't want to go over that too much. Try to explain it to someone else and get them to understand it. So I said about these in the videos, is that this is how we really learn, we can really reinforce our learning, is that imagine you're going to have to teach it, or do teach it to someone, and that really helps you understand things on a higher level. And then if you really wish to, is test yourself for examples. So this is sort of advice around vocabulary and the grammar, is that you put the vocabulary in sentences, or you see them in sentences and try to translate them. Don't try to memorize. I mean, you can do this, but don't rely on it solely, that you just memorize vocabulary in lists, because We always see vocabulary in context, and that is important for us to retain things. We spoke about the 4 stages of learning. What are the 4 stages of learning? That's fine, Munira. Munira, if you, when you come back in, I'll just, inshallah, I will just let you just, I will let you in. So the 4 stages of learning, we said they are, what are they? Do you remember? This is incredibly important. We have 4 stages of learning. Please do type if you can, or, you know, just so we don't have everyone trying to do it at the same time. If you use a chat bar first, and then, I know some people will be faster than others. So, and if you're not even going to answer, at least answer it in your head. So that's another thing, is that don't just sit and wait. We have to be active. Do you remember? Fast. That you forget, you're active, your state, and teach. So that active, being active is really important. Yeah, so when we first do something, we think we don't even know we can do it, we can't do it. And then we have conscious incompetence, i.e. we realise we can't do it now. We're in the car, we see the person drive past in the car, I could do that. Now you're in the car, the guy says, pulls over and says, can you do it? Let me see you. You realise you can't. And a lot of people lose motivation at this point. You know, self-defeating thoughts come up, and they really prevent them from learning. The next thing is that we go to conscious competence, is where we actually feel like, oh, I can do it now. If someone could just put themselves on mute, they've just unmuted themselves, I think accidentally. Then we've got conscious competence. I'm starting to know what I'm doing in the car, but you have to really focus when you're doing it. And a lot of people think they actually know it then, and that's the mistake people make, because once they're at that point, they often don't push themselves to the next stage, which is unconscious competence, when you're doing it without even thinking. And any learning, everyone can get to that, to be honest. It's just people give up on the path. The key is just perseverance. But pacing yourself as well. Not perseverance where you bust your gut and you really put yourself off learning. Pacing yourself slowly. And that's why some people have done the course before, and they got to a point where they were really struggling, and they said, I'm having a break now. And they respected that. And they said, I'm going to come back next year. And that's what's important. Don't expect to retain everything, or don't even expect to finish the course necessarily. Obviously, that's the ideal. We want to do that. But know that if we get to a point where it's too much, trying to balance everything else, say, I'll come back next year and do it again. You pay £50, you get an access fee, and you get access to all the material, and you can do attend the live sessions again. This is a commitment that it's basically a lifelong journey from now on, that you're going to incorporate in your life at your pace. That's the ideal. That's how I set it out for people. A lot of people just know, no, I've got to get it done this year. They don't get it. They feel self-defeated, and they never come back. And that's a big mistake. You've got to realise that Arabic is a commitment, but you commit at your pace and what you're able to manage. So they're the 4 stages, and we are engaged in those 4 stages of learning in our lives, in everything we do, to be honest. Right, what have we got there? What are the 4 points to effective learning? I said that, isn't it? I forget everything. Clear your mind if it's possible. Beginner's mind. And then active, be active in the lesson. Even if active means just you going over it in your mind as I'm talking. But not just, you know, eating something and sitting here, just like, oh, there, or looking at another website as I'm talking. That's not going to work. You need to be active, engaged with me. And then state, i.e. you're sitting up, you're focused, rather than just looking around and whatever. And then the idea that you're going to teach this, i.e. either to yourself, as I mentioned in the video about the students in Mauritania, or you actually do go to someone and teach it. Transferring is not. This is a key point, because a lot of people do this. They just go back to the vocabulary and they put those in, but there's no actual brain exertion. And learning requires brain exertion. So transferring is not learning. Just you transferring things over. Like, do you remember we did that in English? You've got a text and then you've got questions and you just... That's not learning. You're not actually using any sort of strain on the brain. And anything that can refer to a noun, or anything that can replace a noun, that's I prefer that one, but both of them is a noun. So this is going to bring us to the actual grammar that we're going to go through today, inshallah. I'm trying to get this all within an hour, so hopefully we can do this. How many different types of word are there in Arabic? Type that, please. How many types of word are there in Arabic? So engage with me, people. Yep, there are 3. And I've already answered that. I mean, it's got the answer there at the bottom. This is just reinforcing things, to be honest. What are they? What are those 3 words? Noun, verb, particle. And notice that order is very important, noun, verb, particle, because nouns are the strongest element of the Arabic sentence. They stand alone. When I say cat, you've got a meaning there. Obviously not a full sentence, but you can conceptualize it. You've got something. There's some satisfaction in that. But so it's strong in that element. It can stand alone. A verb is reliant. What is a verb reliant on? A verb is reliant on, well, yes, it's reliant on a subject and being in time. Well done, Monira there, and Juwaria. It's just, it has to have, so it needs those things. If I just say hit, that means nothing. Who did it? When did it happen? A verb requires a subject, and so it is needy. So it conveys some sense of a meaning, hit, but we're always asking, okay, who's doing it and when did it happen? So it's not as strong as a noun. And then the third one, a particle, is the weakest, because it doesn't have any meaning really until it comes into a sentence and has a context. So to, I'm going to the shops. Now it talks about direction, I understand that. And so we're going to see these things as they are in context in a bit. What's the difference between a noun and a verb? Well, I've already answered that. The difference between a noun and a verb is that a noun can stand alone, whilst a verb is reliant on 2 factors. A subject, something doing it, and it being in time. So for the next thing, we're going to go to identify these, and I want you to, as your groups, you're going to identify them. If you're going into the groups, some people want that they put their video on and they're happy. If others aren't comfortable, do whatever you're comfortable with. What often happens is the ones that are comfortable with video, they're the only ones on, and everyone else hasn't got their video on, and they feel awkward and turn it off. Whatever you're comfortable with. Second is, some of the people they want to just work by themselves and do it by themselves. They feel they work better like that and don't go into the breakout room. Don't feel compelled to go into the breakout room, but I would like you to. You know, but you in the end respect your style of learning, but it would be nice for you, because in that interaction we really learn better, I feel, for most people. That's not always the case, but that is for a lot of people. Sunhilda, I'll answer that in a minute, inshallah. And also be respectful. If someone doesn't want to participate, generally, you know, one of you step forward and say, okay guys, and take control of and just take people through, if it works out like that. But be respectful if people aren't comfortable almost contributing, or their connection's not good or something like that. Just type with them that I just wish to sort of sit back and observe in the group. So whatever you're comfortable with. So we've got these to identify them. We've got the sentences and to ask what are they, each element of them. And then we've got some vocabulary to get through. I don't think we get through all the vocabulary, to be honest. But so that's the most important thing. Okie dokie. Any questions before? Sunhild said, what if it's a command? A command is a verb and it has a subject. It's implicit. So when I say eat your food, that means, oi, you eat. So there is a subject there, but it's implicit. So as a command, or an imperative, as we call it, when you're telling someone what to do, that is a verb, and it does have a subject, and it's in time. I right now do it. So that is not a third, it's not in that separate category of word. Right, come back. I hope that wasn't to be honest, I should have pre-warned you. This is actually one of the most complicated chapters of the whole course, in my view. You might say, no, it's not. Why I say that is because when you just start the course, it's very like concepts. It's concepts. It's not really rooted in practice. Although we're obviously, and I'm asking you to identify English sentences with Arabic concepts, which is really confusing. It's just simply to give you a taster. This first chapter gives you a taster of the whole course, like the Arabic is just like a sort of a meta perspective of what's going on. So don't worry about that. It's going to we do this chapter, sort of grasp some of it, and then we do away with it, and we jump into more practical things. And remember that we have the Sunday meetup. So we have Friday, and then we have Sunday meetup to reinforce these things. So don't think you'll have to get it all now. We're going to go through it again on Sunday for those that can make it and reinforce it. If you can't make any of these sessions, they're going to be uploaded. They're already, last year's ones are already there. I will upload these ones by probably 24 hours after the lesson. So if you have any questions as I go through this, please do feel free. And if it's just one person asking the question, just say I have a question, or type it if you just want to type it, and then you can unmute yourself if you feel that you need to explain yourself to. So what's the difference between so Steve is a noun. Okay, how do we know something's a noun? I can conceptualize it. So when I say cat to you, you've got an image in your mind of the cat. Now I know abstract nouns are not like that. For example, if I say love, you're going to see associations to that thing, like for example a Valentine's Day card or a heart or something like that. So it's not always you're conceptualizing the thing itself. You are sometimes just conceptualizing associations, but fundamentally you've got something from it. Like when I say that word, you've got something from it. That's a noun. A verb, you're going to say, can I put a subject for it? So the example people said was in. For example, in, they say, well, what is it? It's noun, verb, particle. If I say in, have you conceptualized something? No. In, what's that? I've got nothing in my mind about it. Can I put a subject before it? I in you doesn't make sense. So it's not a verb. So obviously then it's a particle. So Steve is a noun. Running is a noun. Some of you, I bet, said a verb, but it needs a subject and it needs to be in time. So if it said, I am running, now we've got a verb. But if it's just running, running is good for your health. Running is, difficult. That's a noun there. So the assumption is it's a noun. The is a particle. Now you say, but it refers to a noun. No, it attaches itself to a noun to give it definition. A cat, the cat. But it's not you can't replace the noun. You can't just say the. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't stand alone. I, the, you, doesn't make sense. So it must be a particle then. Cat is a noun. He went. There's a verb. So he's obviously a noun. It's a subject, the one doing it. Went is a verb in the past. This is a tricky one. This is a noun because it refers to a noun. When I say I like this, you say, well, what's this? Ice cream. But so this is referring to something and it can replace it. If I say this ice cream, you can pull ice cream out and this still has a meaning. It might sometimes feel like it's not very clear, but it is still referring to something. So it's a noun. Is a particle. And is a particle. Why? That's a tricky one. All questions, what, when, where, why, they're all nouns. That's a tricky one. Because why, when you say why are you doing that, you're really saying what's the reason for doing that? And the reason is a noun. When I say what is that, it's referring to something. It's a cat, it's a dog, it's a mouse. So why is a noun. Love is a noun, not a verb, because there's no subject there. It doesn't say I love, you love. For it to be a verb, it must have a subject there. I understand why some of you might have put a verb, and it's not completely wrong, to be honest. But I just want to reinforce this point that does it have a subject before it? Obviously, we can put I love. You can do that, and it would be a verb then. So it could be a noun or a verb. Because we say love is a wonderful thing, for example. That is a noun here when you say that. Because it's the subject of the sentence. It's the focus of the sentence, which is always a noun. Drawing, again, a noun. I like this drawing. Drawing is fun. But it could also be a verb when you say I am drawing, if it has a subject in it. They will draw. Here's a tricky one. So they's subject. Will here in Arabic is a particle, whilst in English it's a verb. It's called a modal verb. Now we're getting very technical. You do not need to know this, and you're not expected to know this. It's just me being, you know, the little trickster. Draw is definitely a verb here because you've got a subject. They. It is a noun. Her is a noun. That can be a particle or a noun. When I say, if it refers to a noun, it's a noun. So for example, I like that. This is the man that went to the shops. That's a noun. But when I say, I believe that the summer is the best season, that there is not a noun, because it's not referring to a noun. That is a particle. Okay. Is that clear for everyone? Any questions?
Sorry, I got sort of cut out.
Yeah.
And I've come back. Could you possibly run through from I got to running and the.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you just say.
I'm going to do it very quickly. Cat, noun. Sorry, verb, particle. Cat, noun. He, noun. Went, verb. You got that so far?
Yep, got it. Thank you.
This, noun. A, particle.
Yep.
And, particle.
Yep.
Why, noun.
I won't ask why.
No, here's clear. All questions are nouns. Like what, where, when, why, how. They're all nouns.
Thank you.
Love is a noun, but you could say it's a verb if you're going to put a subject before it, like I love. But if you said love is beautiful, then love is a noun. Yeah, is that clear, Sunhild?
Yeah.
Drawing is a noun if you say drawing is fun. But if you say I am drawing, then it's a verb, obviously.
Yep.
They will draw, so they, noun, will, particle. Draw, verb. And that's different. Don't ask why will is a particle. Actually, in English it's a verb, but in Arabic it's a particle.
Thank you.
And then it is a noun. Her is a noun because they refer to nouns. And then that could be a noun or a particle depending on its function. So when I say, I like that, that's a noun. When you say, the man that went to the shop is nice, that's a noun. If I say, I believe that, or he said that, you are nice, that is a particle, if it's coming before a verb like that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thanks.
No problem, you're most welcome. So these are expensive. These, noun. Are, verb. This is the one that catches people out. Are is the verb to be. I am, is, are. And the past is was, were. This is a state of being and existing. So this is a verb. Obviously you're not doing something, but you're existing. So some verbs are states, some verbs are actions. So it's got a subject before it. These are expensive is a noun. Well, you say, no, it's an adjective. But adjectives are a subcategory of nouns in Arabic. Is that clear for everybody? Next, my, noun. Because my is me. Cat, noun. Ate, verb. The particle, food, noun. So please do, just if you have any questions as I go along. I, noun. Went, verb. To, particle. A, particle. Shop, noun. In, particle. The, particle. Morning, noun, not verb. Some people say, well, it's to do with time, that's a verb. No, a verb needs to be in time, but time itself is a noun, because it's time. This is something you can talk about. That's another definition of a noun. You could put it as a subject, and you could have a chinwag about it. So morning, the morning. Oh, I don't like mornings. Mornings are really difficult for me. That's a noun then.
Sorry, I missed, what was my?
My is a noun. Because it's me, isn't it? You say my cat. There's two things there. You're talking about you and the cat and your relationship with one another.
Yeah.
No problem. He, noun. Said, verb. That, particle. That, noun. Person, noun. That, noun. Hit, verb. Him, noun. Was, verb. Not, particle. Nice, noun. Woo!
The third that.
Yeah.
Wait, you said that was a noun. So it's, wait, the third that.
Yeah, this one here. This one
You
here.
said that was a noun.
That is. Because it's
Which
referring to the
one?
person, isn't it, Nabila? So when I say
That
the person that hit me,
person.
that person who hit me.
Isn't that the one before it?
No, well, this is what we call, I'm getting technical now. And you don't need to know these things, it's just me being the trickster. Is that, if I said that, parentheses person, I could remove person and that can replace it, so it's a noun, that one. And then that is the person that hit him. That hit him is a noun. But the first one, it's not got anything to do with the person. So that's a particle. Okay. Any other questions about that one? Because that is very tricky. That one.
Can you repeat that again, please?
The whole sentence, yeah.
Yes, please.
He, noun. Said, verb. That, particle. That, noun. Person, noun. That, noun. Hit, verb. Him, noun. Was, verb. And so many people make this mistake at the beginning. That was, or is, or am, or are, they're verbs, not particles. Because they're to do with state. Not, particle. Nice, noun. I feel like I'm reading off the football scores. I don't know if you remember the old days when they read Queen's Park Rangers 4, Manchester United 6. Is that clear for everybody now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm not going to go through the vocabulary because that should be, you can use the vocabulary app to reinforce that. And we will do that again on Sunday to reinforce it, on the Sunday meetup from 6 to 7. BST, British Standard Mean Time. Okay, we're wrapping up there now. So if you wish to, unless you've got any other questions, you can stay behind and ask that question if you do. Did anyone have a pressing question?
Just a quick question. What will be the homework for Sunday?
Thank you. That's a good one. No homework. It's an extra PDF just with extra examples just to reinforce it. It's a relaxed thing. There's usually less pressure on the Sunday class. It's a bit slower pace than the Friday one.
Will you send that?
I will be sending that out. What I will do is I will send that out probably Saturday evening. I will send out the link with the PDF.
Excuse me, Sheikh.
Yeah.
Could you possibly send it out tomorrow morning because I've got the printers that close?
Well, I'll do it tonight if you want me to.
If it's possible.
That's
please.
fine. It's already ready, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so no homework needed. If you haven't gone through all the videos, obviously your homework is to finish those videos up to the first revision, which is only about 4 videos if you haven't done it already. Your homework is just to go over this a little bit, but not now. Don't jump straight into things. Have a break, maybe tomorrow or Saturday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Is it? Yep, it's Saturday. Saturday sometime. Just have a look over this again and maybe try to, if you're reading something in a paper or something like that, or a magazine, see if you can identify a noun, verb or particle. But don't stress yourself out too much. If you have any questions, you've got me via WhatsApp or email. Otherwise, we will meet on Sunday and I will try to get that email out to you tonight, just so you've got the PDF to have a look at it. Okay?
Can I just ask a quick question? In terms of practically doing the worksheets and the app, how would you recommend it? Do the worksheets and then look at the app, or separately, or
when you say app, do you mean the Wistia site with all the videos?
Memrise.
Oh, Memrise. What I advise with Memrise is once you've gone through the PDF and just gone through that vocab, like this one here. That's how I usually start with vocab. Is can you fill it out? How many do you know just off the top of your head? Circle the ones you keep getting wrong, and then focus in on them until you get them, and then use the Memrise app as a reinforcement. Like you're just sitting at the bus stop, or you just got something. Just do that as extra reinforcement. Now that's a suggestion. Some people might benefit from going straight to the Memrise app, but that's the way I would do it. Probably approach it.
So the YouTube videos, the Wistia videos, the worksheets, and then the app, sort of. In that.
Yeah, that's the app, sort of just a reinforcement, something to do as extra. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
No problem. You're most welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, I had a question. We were trying to translate the name of Allah, and we're kind of stuck if that is a little longer than that.
Right. Yeah, what's your question?
How do you translate Allah into English?
Well, you just do it as Allah or God. God's absolutely fine. Or Allah is that, you know, some people that people have preferences about that. Does that answer your question? I don't know if that, yeah, okay. Yeah. Could you please send the sister the mem app links? Well, Sunhild, you contact me via WhatsApp and I'll do that for you. Any other questions? This is normal for the first lesson to go over a bit, so because people it's still first